welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, I kind of I don't know how this is going to turn out. I don't know how this is going to turn out. So, kind of all right. Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. I was told to give myself a reading, which y'all know I can't give myself readings, right? I mean, how am I going to do this? So I'm going to pull from 4 decks, 4 of them. I'm going to show you a deck and you tell me if I should pull. How should we do this? I don't know how to do this. Okay. How do you guys think that I should just randomly hold whatever deck I touch with my eyes closed is what I'm going to. Okay. So these aren't even all my cards. These are just like, oops. These are the ones that I most commonly reach for. I can't do this. This is heavy. All right. Here's one. Oh, Lord. I'm already feeling like, oh, Lord. There's one. Okay, wait. Okay. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I'm nervous. Okay. Going back to this one, I need 2 more. I need 2 more. All right. This one feels good. Oh, Lord. Oh, man. These are not. Okay. Okay, I have my 4 decks. This is nerve-wracking. What do you guys think this is going to do? What do you think the message is going to be? All right. Okay, there's 1 card already. How many cards should I pull from each deck, or should I just like grab a, grab a little? What do you guys think? It's fun for you, huh? Well, these decks don't have twin flame cards, I don't think. These decks don't have twin flame cards. I'm just saying. What are 4 jumpers? Oh, the ones that, okay. That's jumper number 2. Okay. Okay, so we'll do 3 jumpers from this deck. Okay, there's 3. Now making my head itch, making me sweat. Okay. So there's 3. I'm nervous. All right. I'm so nervous. Okay, let's just 3 jumpers, okay? 1. I'm so good at catching them though. You guys see how I'm catching the jumpers, right? Oh my gosh. That's 2. I'm so good at catching jumpers. I just need one more. Come on, man. Come on. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm like part ninja. I'm part ninja. I'm not going to have any jumpers because I catch them all. Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I am just too coordinated for jumpers. I'm only coordinated when I don't want to be. When I do want to be, I'm not. All right. Okay. Yeah. Here goes. Still no jumpers for this. Do you see that? And you guys know that my camera is reversed, right? But I can sense the movement in the screen. There's 2 that jumped out. I got cocky is what it is. I got cocky is what it is. Stop. Michaela. Okay. So, okay, this one's going to have 5 because there were 5 that just, you know. All right. And then the final deck. Okay. Now I'm hot. Beyond hot. Okay. Beyond hot. Okay. Here goes. I wonder what's going to tell us. All right. That has to go back in. Mikey is just... So look at my hand, my arm that shuffles. And at some point, you'll see distortion near my wrist. Because sometimes he likes to just like yank at my wrist. Okay. Here it goes. There. He says to do another set. Okay. All right, guys, we're almost there. It says another set of 3 for this deck. So just 2 more cards. This is a deck that I created. Come on, just pull 2 out. I'm done shuffling. You're hurting my wrist. He says, let it fall. Ooh. Okay. We got them all. Let's see what's going to happen here. Let us see. So, ooh, okay. Okay. So this, I don't know what to make of this. Okay, hold on. I have to look something up. Hold on. Multitude. Rich spiritual blessings. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys everything that I found. Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I had to look up the meaning of something because it factors in. So the first card we got is card number 23, the gift. So the gift, the sense that I'm getting is that the gift that I guess I bring is already rooted in this life, right? And it's almost like separating myself from the swan that I've already become. Almost like this thing of still remaining within this playful, childlike state, which is equivalent to the ugly duckling, and failing to recognize that the truth of the beauty of who I'm becoming, who I already am, is a full-on swan at this point, and who I am is sheltered from inclement weather. There's nothing that's going to happen in my life to change that, to change who I am, the swan that I am, right? Card number 23, 23 being my actual birthday, being Regulus 23, which is basically the number of Michaela. Regulus 23 is the largest star in the Leo constellation. It's the heart of the lion, right? So, oh, and also, thinking about the spiritual wings, having those, and I love, I love necklines like this. Don't even ask. Don't even ask. I love necklines like this. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. But the feathers in her hair, um, it's almost this sense, really, that um, your etheric wings, they carry with it tremendous protection capabilities. I've said this for quite a few years now. I don't know if you guys um, would know, but your etheric wings have the capacity to defend. Each feather, if you have wings that are fluffy, feathery, each feather carries with it a cutting edge. It's not actually it's not soft, right? It's not soft. It's not something that is super duper delicate. It can serve as weaponry, to be honest. So what's happening now? Um, what's happening now is this message of how protected my thoughts actually are. That these thought inceptions that I'm always concerned will occur, those are just not, no, that's not allowed. Okay. And the fact that I'm so vigilant over my own thoughts and so introspective, it typically indicates that it's going to be extremely difficult to incept the thoughts because I'm always questioning. I'm always further diving into whatever it is I'm thinking of. So this potentiality, it's more than just a potentiality. It's an inevitability. It's inevitable. Makes me nervous. I suddenly feel like, oh my God. Okay. It's inevitable. But here's the thing. I need to be careful about the Eva. Eva, card number 16. This card always reminds me of like toxic Lilith energy when she's all up in her dark space, very much about confusion, negative, destructive type chaos. Um, hmm. I have to be careful about which agencies I approach. Not all agencies carry with it the ability to properly represent me. Those are a type of orchid. Actually, I have orchids like that. Orchid meaning love, luxury, beauty, and strength. Um, delicate, exotic, and graceful. I don't want to be portrayed as exotic. I am not a novelty. Cheerful, happy, optimistic, new beginnings. Okay. What does it mean in the Bible? Oh, sorry. The spots on orchid flowers were seen as a symbol of the blood of Christ. Personal growth, enlightenment, harmony. Um, femininity, grace, elegance. I'm assuming that the orchid, see how there's orchids. It's a type of orchid. Um, no gingers for me. I'm sorry. I'm like, no gingers for me. Um, I don't know, but this is definitely something where it's like I have to be careful of who I allow to be a part of this journey. Um, I don't think it has anything to do with anyone in my life right now. I think it has everything to do with the way I move forward because I'm unfamiliar with certain processes. I just need to make sure that I don't allow myself to make a misstep by blindly trusting um, whatever it is, whoever it is. Like documentation, documentation, documentation. And then in addition to that, having my own personal legal look over everything. Okay, is that the message? And to not allow myself to be portrayed as something less than what I actually am is the message that I get. The mishandling of you by an agency is the key. I think so too. I think so too. Um, if any of you know how to create a press junket, definitely reach out. I have to create a press junket. I have enough content. I just don't want to. Card number 13, Morning Dew Girl. So I kind of feel like this is super representative of me and my energy for some reason. You know, kind of just like and this looks eerily similar to the folk clothing of Filipinos. It's very similar, very very similar. Um, but I looked up dew. Let me see. Where did I? Okay. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Dew, because the dew is what stuck out, right? Dew is a figure of resurrection. I don't know. My Google is super religious lately. This super religious lately. Um, so I'm covered in the blood of Christ. I'm not being resurrected. Okay. Dew also is a symbol of multitude, right? And from its refreshing influence, it's an emblem of brotherly love and harmony and of rich spiritual blessings. Let me look up Hosea 14, verse 5. Hosea 14, verse 5. Oh, oh, okay. Okay. This is powerful. Hosea 14, verse 5. I will be like the dew to Israel. He will blossom like a lily, like a cedar of Lebanon. He will send down his roots. And the interpretation of that, according to BibleTools.org, is that God is saying to Israel, is saying that Israel shall grow like the lily. Israel, representing all of mankind, uses the Holy Spirit to grow. The lily is one of nature's most productive plants. So I will be used to help grow humanity in such a way that is not expected. It's not expected. I am not the dew. I am the one that collects the dew to grow humanity, right? But I have to be very, very careful about interactions with someone who potentially is like a, I don't know, a hidden toxic feminine type mindset. Serendipity, merge with the flow. Okay, card number 30, serendipity, merge with the flow. And this really is indicative of how I actually feel right now. It's like the foliage is um, very much thick and overgrown because I haven't gone this way in maybe quite a few lifetimes. And as I traverse forward, I must do so, you know, dressed only in my integrity, only in my grace, that there are no other adornments or accoutrements that will be allowed to come forward with me. It's like very real, very raw, just um allowing yourself to step forward into the new growth that's interspersed between the old growth, knowing that there's this entire wall of growth that I haven't recognized. And because of the lack of acknowledgement and my lack of willingness to merge with the flow, it has become like a wall, but not impenetrable. No, it is not impenetrable, right? Card number 20, Oblivion, open your arms, but see it's in reverse. This I'm assuming it's a message of how my power is cast into the wind. It is something free flowing. It is something that I never have been able to sufficiently quelch, is the word that I hear. Give me 1 second to find Oblivion. A state of being unaware or unconscious of what's happening. Okay, so it's in reverse, meaning I'm absolutely aware. I am absolutely aware. The fact or condition of not remembering, a state marked by lack of awareness or consciousness, seeking the oblivion of sleep, the condition or state of being forgotten or unknown. Oh my God. um, One of my lives keeps popping up. One of my lives keeps popping up. One of my previous lifetimes. And yeah, amnesty or pardon. So oblivion in regards to historical law. Amnesty or pardon. I don't need to be pardoned for that specific life that keeps popping up. Because as the documentary I watched, the historical documentary that I watched recently showed me, in the most neutral manner, um, everything that happened in that lifetime was appropriate. It was a response, a very intentional response. And in that response, that correction of things that transpired, things that were intended to destroy, diminish, destabilize me and my divine destiny, those were dealt with. They were dealt with in the most appropriate manner with the appropriate level of force. Unfortunately, I'm coming to terms with that. And so that's the part of me that I no longer need to feel ashamed of. This specific lifetime, according to this historical documentary, and it resonates so deeply. This historical figure that I once lived as refused to invade and conquer one of the richest nations during that time. It was a very rich nation. And in that lifetime, I refused. I left it alone. And it was this ensuing kind of like discussion of how that historical figure really had no desire for conquering simply for riches, to acquire material wealth. Because in that lifetime, there was a lesson learned early in life that wealth cannot always buy you power, but power can oftentimes lead to wealth. So the focus was on cultivating power, not simply acquiring wealth. And there's a lot more to that documentary, but it resonated so deeply. It resonated so deeply. And so now I need to tap into that depth of power. I need to seek that type of power, and I will know what to use it for, how to properly and responsibly harness that for the betterment of all, right? And that should any see, look, with it's almost like there were wings there before, but it's been extracted, it's been surgically removed and replaced with flowers. It's almost like there is a message that there is still a part of me that's almost ashamed and rejecting of the degree of protection that I have. Hold on. Where is it? Obscurity. Insensibility. So, and again, still clearly naked in my truth, right? Still clearly naked in my truth. And it's going to come to a point being uncovered in the blood of Jesus. I'm going to have an epiphany very soon, card number 6, and that epiphany is going to cause me to reveal my gifts. That's scary. That's ridiculously scary. Like, what type of gifts are we talking about? I mean, that makes me nervous. It will show that magic runs through my veins, nothing but pure consciousness. And that is how I see, through the lens of pure consciousness, purity, integrity. That I'm blind to the influence of those who walk in shadow, those who deal with a forked tongue. They do and speak in ways that are backhanded, ways that seek to subvert your own sovereignty. That I don't operate in that way. Yep. I'm not doing it for fortune. I'm not. Because I'm not. I'm really not, right? Stemming back to that previous life that keeps popping up as of late, that historical figure did not invade other nations simply for the fortune. very keen awareness, a very, very keen awareness that just because you're rich does not mean you will intrinsically have power, have some type of authority, right? See, you don't need wealth to produce miracles. Card number 31, Mary Miracles. Okay. So 31, 3, 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. These two go together. Card number 31, Miracles, and card number 4, Focus. I think there's something that's going to happen that's going to cause me to focus so intensely. That's kind of scary though. It's something's going to happen that's going to cause me to forget to resist to the degree that I will be focused, to the degree that many will witness a miracle happen in real time. That's scary. What if I don't want to? That's super scary. That's scary. Like, what would happen? What would happen? Like, what type of miracle? Like, what type? Oh, because I want to know. Like, what type? Like, they know I weather bend. Can we just do that? I mean, they know. You guys know I can weather bend, right? What would you guys consider a miracle? I'm being told to ask. To you, what type of miraculous evidence do you think would happen, would be necessary? But why? I mean, why do you even need that? Michael says I'm lacking wisdom right now. Maybe a little bit. Manifesting something from nothing, Lilith says. Like a parlor trick. You just, is that impressive? Because if you know how to use flashline sequencing, Michael says, explain. If you know how to use flashline sequencing, you can open up a white hole portal, which is the antithesis of a black hole. It's the other end of a black hole. You can pull something through very easily. But you would have to know the flashline sequencing and the recalibration. That's necessary because if you do that, you bring a lot of things through. You have to do it to a specific degree in order to bring something through. But you would also need to know kind of like the reverse engineering of that in order to create a controlled black hole to suck it from somewhere else. To me, that's okay. To solidify to the world, you are who you are. Okay, I don't know why, but this pops in my mind. Something having to do with demons. I don't like them. I really don't like them very much, to be honest. I mean, I could. Would it need to be recorded? I don't know. So the question was, what would you consider a miracle? Could I just use my brother? Because that's already done. Could I just like share his medical records? Get permission, get him to sign off on some HIPAA stuff. Would that be enough? Because I mean, that's unexplainable. It's like completely unexplainable. To me, that isn't that enough? Maybe, maybe not. See, this is why I can't do readings for myself. This is why. No, this is why I don't do readings for myself because then it becomes this whole thing of me gaslighting myself the whole time. Like, why do you need that? I mean, what do you mean by that? Instead of just, I was doing good for the first couple minutes. I was doing really, really good for the first couple minutes. Now I'm kind of just like, but none of this makes sense. Does it make sense to you guys? I'm getting real hot. Like, like hot. Heat. Okay. Okay. Forgiveness. Um, hmm. I think maybe exploring the ways in which I need to explore more of my lack of ability to move forward from certain things, right? Certain previous life things. Um, mm. So, again, this comes from kind of the ways in which I gaslight myself quite a bit, especially when it comes to past life stuff. Um, what do you guys think? For those of you who have a really good sense of how I am, who I am, my level of self accountability, and all of that, right? Um, if I told you one of my past lives was a historical figure, would you believe that? Or would you be like, oh my God, you're one of those? You totally are just trying to portray yourself as someone, something like so important. And no, I didn't, I've never lived as Cleopatra, nor have I ever lived as Mary Magdalene. I'm serious. I've never lived as Mary Magdalene. I'm just like, okay. Um, that miracle is your coming out party. Oh, you're a miracle worker, whether you realize it or not. Your existence is a miracle alone within itself. Oh, thank you. A quote I thought of. There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other as though everything is a miracle. That's just so polarized. That is so polarized. Okay. I was supposed to die as a child, as a newborn. Um, my mother and I both. I was supposed to die during childbirth. From what she said, I'm a preemie. And from what she said, like I never moved while she was pregnant with me. I never moved. And she would be like, oh my God, are you like an alien? Do you not have arms and legs? Like, why do you never move? Right? Um, and then one day, again, she said I was a preemie. One day she was at some like major festival, like the whole Philippines was celebrating. And she was at a major festival. I believe it was either, I think it was a feast either of Saint Michael or Mother Mary, right? It was one of their feast days. Hold on. Oops. Religious feast days. February. Uh, well, my gosh. Okay. Our Lady of Lords, Mama Mary. Yes. Yes. What? Um. Yes. I don't know. They love Michael in the Philippines. They totally love Michael in the Philippines. So, anyways, she was at this like outdoor event, like pretty much the whole freaking hood was out, and they had all of these like really elaborate floats and whatnot. And then suddenly I decided to have a full-on riot. A full-on riot in her belly, being being a forming little human that's never moved. And then suddenly I was like, let me out, let me out. Yeah, and she was in so much pain that they rushed her to the hospital, according to what she said, and she immediately underwent an emergency C-section. At which point, as soon as her abdominal region was opened, um, she said that I had been so rowdy in that moment that her uterine wall was so thinned that they could see my foot, the heel of my foot through her uterus. And had they waited any longer and I moved any more, I would have perforated her uterine wall with my foot and we both would have immediately died. Y'all had your chance. Y'all had your chance and you let me slip through. I'm saying y'all had your chance to take me out, but you didn't. You didn't. Yeah. That's why I'm just like, whatever. You can't stop me. Yeah, so that's what she said. She said that like we were supposed to both because I was too rowdy. I was like, a way to blame the newborn. Way to blame the new. She goes, you're just so rowdy. Well, shit. If that's how I enter the world, how are you going to expect me to be chill? That's I got no chill. So yeah, I solidified it that day. I have no chill, and clearly everything was fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the message here is. You know, it's like one of those things. You guys would believe if I said I was like some type of historical figure. I'm telling you, it's not anyone that's attractive. Unfortunately, I'm like, I don't it wasn't anyone attractive. It's not anyone you're gonna be like, oh my God. No, it's like, oh girl. That was your previous life? And I'd be like, I know, right? That's why I don't want to tell nobody about this. But okay, I have to forgive some of those previous lives because I still lack an understanding of exactly the importance, the significance of those lives, the history of the people that I've lived as. They're often portrayed in such a different way. It's like that's the recurring theme. That's the recurring theme. I've lived several lives as historical figures, none of them handsome. None of them. None of them. No. It's not any of that. It's not, no. And they're always portrayed in the same way. Um, a very convoluted way of telling a story. Someone who didn't understand because really there was never really a sharing of the logic that was used, the reasonings behind the decisions to conquer, to invade, to this, to that. There was never reasoning that was provided. It was always this thing, and I have very distinct memories of being shown visions, knowing, hearing. Um, yeah. And I never shared it with others because during those times, those were just not things that were acceptable, you know? Yes, for most, we don't really know the whole story. For most, absolutely. When it comes to historical figures, for most, we don't know how they actually lived and the people they truly were. That I now know for sure. I now know that for sure. Um, all my previous lives, I was portrayed the historical figure ones that I remember, that are popping in my head right now. I was always portrayed as sociopathic, power hungry, um, senseless in shed type of portrayal. And I'm coming to this realization that's not how I really was. It's that in those times, and I'm not trying to excuse some of the more gruesome details of those lives, it's that I'm coming to realizations that the history of the world is barbaric. The history of the world is barbaric. How could I be anything but what humans of the time were? I needed to integrate, assimilate, and that required me to behave and have similar logic as the peoples of the time, right? So, really, about this is about needing to complete those cycles. Card number 7, needing to complete those cycles and actually, allow myself to acknowledge the need for forgiveness of my limited perception of who I was then. Who you are and the job you had to do are entirely different. Ooh, that's powerful, Queen of Hearts. If it helps, I've been executed quite a few times too. I don't know why I just laughed. I have executed. I've experienced betrayals via coup d'etat. I'm so averse to coup d'etats. I'm just like, motherfuckers. Not this time. um, yeah, just a lot of that. A lot of that. I think during quite a few of those lifetimes, I existed as something that even while I was still alive, I was portrayed as something beyond human at that point. Not a god, not a demigod, but something beyond human. Multiple times, multiple times, I have united continents under one flag. Multiple times. Different lifetimes, of course, but multiple times. I mean, it is what it is. So, in that need to forgive, right? Forgive the effects, the longstanding effects and distortions that arose from my lack of understanding of the gravity of those lives. Um, I had been pushing further away from me. That point where I would need to, excuse me, I would need to allow myself to be very, very much visible. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I'm going to need to talk about my previous lifetimes. It's really crazy because I'll have these memories pop up and I'll be like, oh my God, that's so intense. And I'll be like, that's total bullshit. After a few minutes, and I'm like really considering what I've just been shown and like, oh my God, oh, geez, Louise, like, oh, holy moly. And then a few minutes later, I'm like, yeah, right. That's total bullshit. And then later on, I'll be watching something. Sometimes it's a documentary. Oftentimes it's documentary stuff. And then there'll be content included in a video that it just does not seem related to anything, right? And it will reiterate the exact details. It will reiterate the exact details that someone who is identified as a specialist in their field, is sharing in that documentary, right? So, and it's at that point I'm like, oh my God. So it's not bullshit? That's what happens every time. Oh my God. So it's not bullshit? Mikey, were you serious? At which point he's usually super irritated with me at that point. He's just like, you know what? Yeah, that's how those go. So I think that makes me so nervous. That makes me so nervous. Michael says, I'm just nervous because I don't want someone to tell me that I'm wrong in what I remember. Well, yeah. I mean, it's one thing to have a conversation with someone, like a private conversation with someone, and share details, and then have them be like, you're full of shit. And I'd be like, you think? Maybe just a little bit. Like, how much shit do you think? I would literally ask you, like, how full? Like half, a third, not 3/4. Definitely not 9/10. How much shit do you think I'm full of? I'm trying to quantify how to see myself, right? I don't know. I don't know. That's so nerve-wracking. Hmm. You know, Michael says to find this and read it again. Hold on. I don't remember what I wrote. He says to find it and read it again. Okay. My quote: the fastest way to move beyond your deepest fears to go right through it. Oh my God. I knew you were setting me up for shit when you said write that down. I knew he was setting me up for shit. I knew it. I knew it. It's okay. I'll have to work through that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about a series of short format videos? Um, that makes me so nervous. What do you guys think about me sharing a series of short format videos detailing some of the things I remember about some of the lives that I've lived? What do you guys think about that? Would that be, and I would include my name in that life. For several of my lifetimes, quite a few actually, I remember my name, you know? So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that though. I've shared one of my names before. Something runner. Let me see. Hold on. I'll find it. Um I think it was like heavy runner. Yeah, it is. Chief Heavy Runner. And that fucked up. That was one of my names. That was a past life. 1848, and I died on January 23rd, 1870. Yep. Yo. Ain't that some shit? That's crazy to me. And I gave the details at a retreat. Like, I, for some reason, had an in-person retreat in Montana. Like, I needed to be in Montana and I needed to pass through Yellowstone. I needed to go all the way the F up to um Oh my god, what is the city called? I know. I lived in Montana. I was Blackfoot. They fucking murdered us. What bastards. I was fucking peaceful that life. Fucking dicks. Fuck the cavalry. Seriously, we were so fucking peaceful. We were sleeping because of these fucking little troublemakers. They weren't even from my tribe. They were down the fucking riverbed. Down the riverbed. I'm not even joking. So I had this retreat, Missoula. I was like, we get to Missoula, and I'm like, I don't even know why I need to be in Missoula. Oh no, I went to Missoula because I was like, my mom had passed away, and then one of my viewers who I was very fond of, she decided to give me kind of like uh, a gift, and she had donated X amount of money to some organization on behalf of my mother. And that organization plants trees. And depending on how much you donate, that's how many trees they will plant in your name, in your honor. It's to help combat deforestation. And I love the forest. And for some reason, like she had purchased this gift for a forest in California. And she didn't tell me that she was doing this. I just received the certificate stating that there were something like 100 trees in Missoula. And I was like, I'm really grateful. Like, I love trees. I love forests. Why'd you pick Missoula? And she goes, Missoula? I was like, yeah, Montana. And she goes, I didn't pick Montana. I selected California. And I was like, oh, boo. Them trees is in Montana. And she goes, really? And I was like, yeah. It was the weirdest thing. And then, of course, I was like, I want to. Michael already had said that I needed to go to um, have the retreat near Yellowstone because I needed to activate a vortex over there with the people who would be part of the retreat. And so when I found out it was in Missoula, I was like, I need to go to Missoula first before the retreat because I want to lay under the trees. I'm so Piscean, it's ridiculous. I wanted to find her 100 trees, have a picnic there, take a nap, and then watch the sunset and watch the stars. But as soon as we got to Missoula, I was like, what's wrong with this place? Yeah. It's like it hurts my feelings being here. Yeah. Yeah. And then it was like also this weird ass sense. So we were already on the way to Missoula. And I had 2 people with me. I had my personal assistant and I had my friend at the time, and they were gonna help me with a retreat, and we drove because just some crazy ass shit. Instead of flying, we drove. We drove, like, I don't know, the 15, 16 hours, hell hours. We drove, and I didn't get an Airbnb until we were, like, several hours on the road already, and, there was this one Airbnb that I kept being shown. I was like, "But I don't really wanna stay there." And then I kept being shown it again, and finally I got kind of desperate, and I was like, "All right, fine. This is where we'll stay. Here, map it out to this Airbnb in Missoula, and that's where we'll stay for the week." And while we were there at that Airbnb, it was just the weirdest. I don't even know. It was just this weird ass sense of like, I don't know. I don't know if I was picking up on someone, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember very well anymore. But it was this sense of like looking at my own face. I don't know if maybe like the sense of watching my own live stream and like knowing where I am. And it's like, but I know where I am. I picked this Airbnb and then, um, and then like this really just intense, super intense urge of like, I should go. I should just knock on the door. I should just go and knock on the door. And I'm like, does someone know where we are? Because I was traveling with two other women and I'm like, these girls won't fight. Oh my God, I'm the only one that will fight. Because I'm always thinking about survival, yo. I'm just saying, I'm always thinking about survival. I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Yeah. So the whole time we were there, it was just like this really eerie sense of, I think someone knows where I am and they're going to knock on the door. It was just the creepiest shit ever. But I don't know if I was pulling in past life memories. I just know that it was considered something like the gateway to hell or something. Hold on, let me look it up. Um Gateway to hell. Is that what it was? Oh, gates of hell. Many times the Blackfeet ventured into the mountains and ambushed the Western tribe as they came through the canyon. The gruesome evidence of these raids was the gates of hell. Hell Gate also was the original name for Missoula. That's why. But I didn't know at the time that this was one of my lives. I was just like, this is freaking me the fuck out. I was like, you guys, I'm fucking freaking out. Right. And then I don't typically not travel. I don't typically travel without my husband with me. And, like we didn't know who was gonna like the type of people that will go to the retreat. And we didn't want our kids to be exposed in case there were just questionable energies or whatever. And so my husband decided to stay home and it was just me and two other girls. And I was just like, fuck. I know for damn sure these two ain't gonna be swinging. I'm gonna be like, lock yourselves in the bathroom. I will fuck shit up by myself. I won't let anyone get you. Don't listen to me. So, anyways, all of that in Missoula, and it was just really like super interesting. All of these emotions, like so much really intense emotions, and it was very hard to regulate myself, my emotions, even my vitals. My vagus nerve was completely dysregulated, and I was just picking up so much from that region, all the way down to we ended up staying over by, what's it called? I think it's called like Island Park or something like that. We stayed in a cabin, off-grid cabin that butts up to BLM land. We was in the wilderness. And so I'm in this cabin with complete strangers, with my two girlfriends who don't fight. And I'm just like, it is what it is. I just, and then my one of my best friends was like, Emmy, do you know how much people love you? They won't let anything happen to you. And I definitely, I always listen to my BFFs. Their words are always like super sage advice, super logical, super solid, very balancing. And I was like, okay, are you sure? And she's like, people love you. None of the other guests will let anyone crazy do anything to you. And I was like, okay, I believe you. And so while we were having these conversations at the actual retreat, which I met some people who are still part of my life at that retreat. I've met people who are just straight up soul family to me at that retreat. But there was also a situation where there was a demon Harita that infiltrated. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience because as soon as they arrived, like everyone was there, it was like boom, 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 like memory after memory after memory. And I was just looking at this person like, fucking troublemaker. And I felt badly that I felt that way. I didn't say anything, and I just tried to be a very gracious host. And yeah, I remember I was transporting everyone to Yosemite. I had rented a large passenger van, and so everyone could ride in that van together into Yosemite because I have a federal parks pass, any federal park I can get into. And I had told them there are elementals that have detected my presence on the land. Do not do energetic work. I'm cloaking the vehicle. You're going to do energetic work. You're going to bring attention to us. And we're approaching one of the gates for Yellowstone. And I look in the rear view mirror because I'm detecting someone's doing energy work, and I'm detecting a fucking golem in the field. I don't know if y'all know what a golem is. That's not something to play with. I'm detecting an elemental and a golem in the field. And I look in the rearview mirror, and Troublemaker is doing energy work. And I'm like, hey, you might want to stop doing energy work. I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. Right. So then they stop doing energy work. And then their minion decides to go into the water where it's been fenced off in the river. It's been fenced off because it's a natural hot spring like vent area. So something like 200-degree water comes out of there, and it joins the river and it cools down in the river. But if you're too close to where the water comes out, it'll burn your skin off. And this person decides to go in the water around the fence. I'm just like, if she fucking gets kicked out, she gets kicked out. She's gonna have to call her husband to pick her ass up. We're not going back. You can't read the sign. The sign says don't go in the water. And then next thing you know, Ranger comes. I'm like, these two, I swear to God. These two, I swear to God. And then it became a thing of the retreat was quite a few days. It became a thing of Troublemaker 1 was trying to convince everyone of a storyline, and Troublemaker 2 was totally co-signing everything. And I was just like, y'all have no idea. Y'all have no idea how much you're irking me at this point. Didn't say anything. And then towards the last day, the full flood of the full recollection of things, minus our names, it all came back. And at that point, I was livid. But it was the last day. So I was like, okay, good. Because I can't fake this. You got everybody here killed. Everyone that attended that retreat was part of the tribe. That's why we all had to gather there together. It was intense. When we went to one of the geothermal terraces, I think that's what they're called, over in Yellowstone. We went and parked, and it was the most eerie thing. It was like beautiful, but at the same time, it made me feel some type of way, unexplainable way, because the elk were singing. They were in mating season, and they were singing to each other, but it sounded like they were singing to us. And we couldn't see them. They were still pretty high up into the tree line. And they were singing. Have you ever heard elk? It was just, it's like an ethereal sound. And I was just like, nobody get gored, please. Troublemaker 1 and troublemaker 2. You bitches. You better fucking behave. I was like, um, the elementals couldn't quantify my energy. It couldn't quantify my energy. And then there was something tracking. And we went through quite a few different portions of Yellowstone. And towards the evening time, I was like, are you guys done? Is there anything else you guys want to see here? Are we done? And everyone decided they were done. And I was like, okay, because I can't hold the rain back. I have to, something's tracking us already. And I have to release the rain. It's going to start raining. Once it starts raining, I'm not going to be able to stop it again. And once I detected that something was like very, very close to geolocating our exact pinpoint location, I felt like a almost like a twin ray response. And I was like, I feel him. And then as soon as I said that, literally a bald eagle cut us off. It flew right across our windshield. And then it landed in the tree, like down the valley, and was just staring at us. And I was like, we're good, you guys. Everyone's like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, oh, it's a bald eagle. And they're like, did you call that? I was like, well, something's tracking us. And they're like, and then of course the whole car is quiet. It takes a while to get out of Yellowstone. We are very deep into Yellowstone. We are very, very deep into Yellowstone. And of course, quite a few main roads are only 2 lane, like, 2 lane. And it was getting dark. There's no lights there. The roads are narrow and they have sharp turns. And the car in front of us is driving like an absolute maniac. The car in back of us is tailgating. I'm just like, look, motherfuckers, I know I got the luxury insurance. I have event coverage insurance and everything. But y'all, can you not injure anyone in this vehicle? It was craziness. It was just craziness. And so the person in front of us, they were supposed to stop because the bridge is a one car bridge. And there was already a car that was coming. And that car didn't care. The one in front of us didn't care. The opposite traffic couldn't see us. And I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be a total head on collision. And I don't typically do this stuff unless there's an extreme need, right? Like life threatening type of thing. I was just like, I don't give a shit. I'm fucking hijacking the other car. Like, do not drive onto that bridge. And he stopped. And the girl that was sitting in the front seat, she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, shh, fucking focusing. Don't drive forward. And then so the oncoming car that had the right of way did not drive forward. He just stayed stopped. The other car sped through. So there was no head on collision. And then we were driving. That car eventually disappeared. I was like, I don't want them on the road. I don't know where they went. There was no turns. So I don't know where they went, but they were gone. And so I'm just driving. The car behind us is like, I don't know, you need to pee or something. Are you hungry? Are you hangry? Why are you all up on my bumper? And they would get so close at times where I couldn't even see their headlights anymore. They were that close. And so there was one man who came with us. He was a participant. There was one male, and he happened to be like a mechanic. And he was sitting in the back row. And I was like, you know what, guys? I'm so sorry. I have to turn up the music because I'm sick of that car. No one's going to get hurt, but I'm really sick of the way they're endangering our entire vehicle. They're about to have mechanical failure. So I need you guys to be really quiet for a moment so I can charge up enough of a load, and they need to get off the road. And so I had to turn up the music. Everyone was silent, like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, don't worry. I just want to make sure we're all safe. I'm trying to get us to dinner. And, most cars are full of electronic. I knew it was a newer car. I don't know what kind, but I knew it was a newer car and it would not have a carburetor. Therefore, it would have a motherboard. So you just drop a nice little like EMP nugget, shut down their whole car. They have to pull over, which they did. They shut the car shut down to the degree that their headlights turned off. It also drains the battery temporarily. I be knowing about bioelectric. And so the guy who was sitting in the back, who's a mechanic, I was like, is everyone okay? They're off the road now. He looks back and he's like, where the fuck did they go? I was like, they pulled over. Don't worry. He goes, did you see them? I was like, no, their headlights are turned off. He's like, you're a fucking beast. And I was like, I don't take kindly to people fucking with a vehicle that I'm in charge of. I don't take kindly to that. And he's like, I was just like, everyone's okay, right? I'm going to turn down the music. What? That's not that you guys wouldn't do that. I would do that. Car is not irreparably harmed. If you just give it some time, everything will kind of just reboot itself. It wasn't enough to completely to completely wreck any type of electronic programs. It's kind of like turning the light switch off and then on real quick. It just kind of resets things. But the car doesn't know what's happened. It's almost like a factory reset. The car doesn't know what happened, and the driver doesn't know what happened. And so it kind of just, ooh. And as it slows down, they pull off to the side because unless they're dumb and would stay in the middle of a 2-lane road. No, they didn't stay in the middle of a 2-lane road. They went to the side of the road. I made sure to watch as it turned off. And so, yeah, everything was fine. We went to dinner after that. But going through all of that and having those two troublemakers there, there were troublemakers in a previous life as well when my name was Chief Heavy Runner. And they had done some stuff. I think they got into something with Bozeman or something like that. I don't know. Had to do something with Bozeman. Hold on. Let me look. Okay. So a lot of what happened became kind of fighting between the tribe, not my tribe, but like a cousin tribe. And I think his name was Bozeman. And he happened to have a lot of like pull. And so yeah, he approached the cavalry and like, whoever was in charge knew that we were a very peaceful tribe, like very peaceful. And what he did was instruct them to bring us in to speak, to talk. And that guy in the cavalry was a total drunkard. And he was looking to make a name for himself. And so rather than calling us to come and um, kind of explain what's happening, which we weren't part of any of that. We didn't know any of that. Instead, he came in the early morning hours as the sun was about to start rising, and then he just opened fired into our TPs. And quite a few, most of us were massacred there. The ones who were able to take off, and they tried to bury the story. And so they were left in the cold. I believe most of my tribe died. Most of them died. And then they found out it wasn't even the right tribe. Yeah. So I've lived quite a few Native American lives, but that one It was years later. Hold on. It was years later. I don't remember how many years later. Maybe like 2 years later. I got curious cuz the retreat stuff came back up. I don't know if I was talking to someone or something. The retreat experience came back up and I began thinking about those memories, and I never look for details. I never search up the details of the lifetimes I remember unless I want to prove that I'm full of shit. I know most people be like, "Oh my god, I'm going to look it up because if I remember these details and they're accurate, this totally proves me as right." No, I'm the opposite. I'll be like, "I bet you my ass made that shit up." Yeah, no, that was my total stance. I bet you my ass made that shit up. I bet you. I bet you I made that all of that shit up. And so I start googling a few things, a few details, um and that pulled up immediately. Immediately. And I was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, I gotta put this on my list." And the lives that I remember, I've listed some of them down. Uh, and because they're historical figures, um, it gives you a rough estimate of when they were born, at the very least, like the year, an estimate of the year, and then the day they died. And all of these lives, it's yeah, nope, they don't overlap like that. One of my lives, I died in when was it? Which life was it? I'm looking. Ah, yes, it was so 6 months, 5.5 months, if we're gonna be exact. 5.5 months between those two lifetimes. With those two historical figure names, I was like, I finally found the smoking gun. I'm full of shit. There's no way they both died. One died that year and the other one was born that year. It's bullshit. And then I looked deeper and I was like, oh, it's 5.5 months. Okay, so it still fits. It still fits. Damn it. Yeah. So these are some crazy ass names. My last life that I remember, I don't remember my name. It was not a historical figure, but it was a historical event. I don't remember my name. It's too much for me to remember my name. So, anyways, the last 5 cards, um, self sabotage in reverse. I won't be able to sabotage this. Whatever this is, I won't be able to sabotage this. I won't be able to stop it. I won't be able to slow it down. I will not be able to sabotage it. Um, Not even errors in judgment will sabotage this. It's going to be pushed forward no matter what. I don't know what this is, but it's going to be pushed forward no matter what. And in my process of self acceptance, um, I will reach higher levels of awakening and awareness because of my process of self acceptance. And in that process of self acceptance, paired with higher degrees of awareness, it will awaken the entire collective, Blu ray awakening. It will unlock certain channels that are required to be fully dilated, full dilation of energetic pathways that allow you to access specific portions of your morphogenetic template, that will amplify and accelerate your ascension mechanics. Yes. Tell me that didn't all sound like made up. Tell me that didn't sound all made up, like even the details of the retreat. Tell me that didn't sound super crazy, but it all happened. My life functions in the weirdest way, just like literally the weirdest way. I don't know. I don't believe half of it. Even though I lived through it, I don't believe more than half of it. It makes it sounds like a big ass story to me. It sounds like a big ass story to me. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's this thing of like the places that I go to are places that hold my memories. And as I visit these geographic locations, the land will release my memories back to me. Oftentimes, there's also crystals, depending on where the crystals are from, um, the regions they come from. It stores a lot of that information. Doesn't mean it isn't true, but it just sounds crazy. It sounds super crazy. And the cabin that I chose, um, right by it was a series of mini vortices. The trees were growing in spirals. They were just full on spiral. It was nutty. It was nutty. Gollum is the name of one of the characters in Lord of the Rings. He was the one. He was like, my precious. But the Gollum that I talk of, it's a magical creature. It's yeah. Um, Let me see if I can find an explanation for you guys. Uh, let's see. It's not Smeagol. A golem is an animated anthropomorphic being in Jewish folklore, which is entirely created from inanimate matter, usually clay or mud. Yeah, that's how you spell it. The way Teresa wrote is how you spell it, not Gollum, the character from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Um, yeah, the way, because I'm a quantum divergent. I'm not just a neurodivergent. My neurodivergency is quantum in nature. And I'm able to go ahead and see the connections between all the different things. Like why I'm brought to a region, what it's trying to give me, what information, lifetime details, sometimes names, the way it connects to other people, the way that connection projects out into future density. Um, my brain just doesn't work like other people's brains. Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, no. I'd be like, look at you, like, oh, and you'll be like, what? Nothing. And I'm over here, like, yeah, no, see you. We live those lives together. I will cross paths again in about 3 to 5 years, and you will have gone through X, Y, and Z, and I will have gone through F, G, and W, and then our paths will cross, and then you will give me the information, and I will give you the information, and it's going to bump us up to a different level and timeline, which is then going to have a ripple effect. And that ripple effect will give the potentiality, it's a potential charge that will then create the potentiality for a secondary nexus event. So, as my husband says, there is nothing common about my type of sense. um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're accurate. I don't know if I am. I can be accurate for other people, but it's hard for me to tell how accurate I am for myself because there's so much of that Piscean energy that creates distortions by way of intense unregulated emotions, you know? Um, there's video of Abramovich, I believe her name is. Abramovich creating a golem from bodily fluids. It's gross. But yeah, there I don't remember the name for it in native in indigenous folklores. But they have knowledge of how to create golems. I've lived quite a few lives in the Middle East region of the world as well, and that was the name I knew it by, the golem. That's why I referred to it as that. But it's made of dirt. It remains with the dirt dormant until specific types of frequency um, run through the valley. And it's when I what happened was, because I was traveling, there were already things trying to attack once we got on the road, and I'm just not for the inconvenience. Like, you're not going to strand me in the middle of nowhere where there's no cellular reception. I'm not going to play games with you. No, you're not going to wreck the electronics of a vehicle I've just rented. Like, I'm not playing games. And so I create a barrier, and that barrier is impenetrable. And because the barrier is an impenetrable barrier, it carries with it specific oscillations of bitonal and tritonal standing scalar wave frequencies. So it's almost like impenetrable, and it whops it right back to you, whatever you try. And so because of that, and so many things were attacking, and mind you, the highways and freeways that were used were highways and freeways where many clashes between the cavalry and indigenous nations occurred, a lot of massacres, a lot of that type of stuff. And as I'm traveling through multiple states to get to Missoula, um, all these mofos are waking up. I'm like, we just gotta keep driving. I'm not taking the shield down. F that. And then finally, when we reached Missoula, I became dysregulated because, again, the process of harvesting the memories from the land initiated without my conscious awareness, and that overwhelmed my senses. I have sensory integration struggles. Um, it's a neurological thing. And it's part of the way my neurodivergency expresses itself. And so with that, I was just like exhausted by the time the retreat actually started. And yeah, it was just one of those things. um, you guys have any questions? I know it's supposed to be a reading for me, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot. Monument Valley, where is that? Why does that sound and feel so familiar? Is that in Colorado? There's a city called Monument in Colorado. I wish I could have seen you, Billy. I so wish I could have seen you, but I didn't want to be like intrusive. I didn't want to just invite myself like, "Hey girl, what are you doing? You want to come over?" And I wasn't there very long either. So, yeah, but I definitely wish I could have seen you. Give me a second. Oh, Navajo Res. I've encountered walkers quite a few times. There was Ute walkers. You get what I'm saying? I didn't realize that I literally lived at the edge of a res. The end of the driveway was the start of the res. and it was in the mountains. And when it was time to move from that farm, uh, yeah, no, it tracked me through to a different state. It definitely did. So I had to leave fragments. Um, the only reason it didn't track me any further, at one point we did drive through the Four Corners area. We did drive through the Chaco Canyon area, and I left fragments of clones there, and that's where they went. Go to Chaco Canyon. Go play over there. Play with the rocks. Um, yeah, we didn't really do much while we were in Missoula. We went and we had pizza. Well, they had pizza. I was already like super reactive to gluten and stuff. And then we had Mexican food. We really just we just hung out pretty much. We hung out at the Airbnb. I freaked myself out. Um yeah, I think at one point one of the nights, because I kept feeling like, "Oh my god, someone is going to knock on the door." I was really like, "Who is this?" I felt someone, cuz I had live streamed. I never live stream where you can see the outside. And I was live streaming, and I think someone, um I don't know how though. Oh. I know how. No. Mhm. There someone knew where I was. I think because they had stayed in that Airbnb like a few days before me. So someone knew exactly where I was, and I think they were viewing the live stream. I'm just speculating. And I think they were considering going to the Airbnb and knocking on the door. I hey, I travel constitutionally protected. I was like, I don't know what's happening. But I think at one point I had one of the gals who who was traveling with me. I was like, "Can you sleep in the room with me?" And she's like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, please." And just so you know, like I'm not like trying to come on to you, but sometimes in the middle of the night I just randomly hug whatever's near me. like I'm gonna lay on you and hug you. I promise I'm not coming on to you. I won't breathe into your ear and stuff. You'll just feel the weight of me crushing you. All you gotta do is just push me off. I won't wake up. And so they agreed to sleep with me in like the other room. I was just like, oh my God. Were you always allergic to gluten? No, the higher my frequency goes, the more reactive I am to it. So at this point, when I have gluten, I experience a lovely case of what is it called? Hold on. Let's see. What is it called? There's a specific word for it. Um, Gluten ataxia. It's a neurological complication related to gluten sensitivity. Gluten ataxia is characterized by positive anti-gliadin antibodies, changes in the cerebellum, and ataxic symptoms, including upper or lower limb ataxia, gait ataxia, and dysarthria. Meaning, I'm gonna die. I gotta not ever eat gluten. I gotta not ever eat gluten because my brain starts to swell. It's not cute. Yeah, I get really fucked up. Um, before when I eat gluten, like accidentally get glutenized, even if it's just accidental cross contamination, like you accidentally use the same spoon to scoop that it's touched gluten. even though you rinsed it off, if it has traces of gluten and you use it and it touches my food. What used to happen was it would be like you roofied me within about 15 minutes or so, because my body metabolizes food very quickly. Within about 15 minutes, um, I'll be so lethargic and I cannot stay awake, and I'm literally like you drugged me. Yeah. I won't be able to wake up at all. Like at all. If I remember right, the last time that happened, we went to a Japanese restaurant and I told them no gluten. Um, I'm pretty sure it has something because we ate pretty fast, and then maybe like 5 minutes or so, um, we were. I don't even remember. See, we ate, and then I think the last thing I ate might have gotten contaminated with gluten, and we left within about 10 minutes of me eating that last thing. And then within about 5 minutes of us leaving, I was like, I cannot stay awake. My husband's like, oh, you're just tired. Go to sleep. I was fucked up. When we had to drive, I think like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to get back to the house we were at. And I was knocked out the whole time, like knocked out. Like I literally could not even open my eyes. And then I believe my husband had to carry me in. And even that, like I couldn't, it didn't even wake me up. I was still pretty much knocked out. And then the next day I woke up feeling like I had a hangover. That happens to me with eggplant, nightshade. Yep, nightshades. I am not very compatible with nightshades. High frequency does that. And a couple other food groups, but gluten at this point, I feel my brain swell. It's like it was funny at first, but it's not funny. Yeah, it was funny at first, but then it wasn't funny because someone had made a cake for my birthday, and they were like, you could just have a little piece of this, because they didn't know. They didn't know, and I had been harassing them about a cake. I've been harassing them about a cake, and they didn't know. I didn't tell them. And I didn't know that it actually had gluten, and I couldn't remember because they made me several cakes, and I was just like, I'm gonna have a piece. And of course, someone who cares was like, you should ask them what's in that. And I was like, no, I will ask them after I have it. Like, it's my birthday. Yeah, no. So I ate the whole big ass piece. And halfway through, I was like, I don't feel right. At which point I texted and was like, hey, what's in the cake? And they're like, oh no, what happened? And I was like, I'm feeling symptoms of ataxia. I was fucked up. My brain was so swollen. My belly was hella swollen. I had to use ultrasonic cavitation to to help with the freaking third spacing happening in my belly. You guys, food can kill me. It's not even funny. Okay, I'm gonna get going, guys. I'm gonna get going. I just wanted to spend time with you guys today, and so I gave myself a reading. I want to say some of it was accurate. I want to say others of it, I don't really know. I don't know how to feel about it. We're gonna see what happens. But what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna go look and see what the proper steps are that I need to take before I approach talent agencies. I'm going to do it. 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 We're setting that intention, right, guys? We're setting that intention. We are recognizing what it is we want to do, what it is we need to do, how to achieve the objectives that we have, and we're going to make it happen. If you haven't already, watch the live stream right before this one, the one that I had earlier today. Watch that, and everything will make sense to you. Everything will make sense, you know? Everything. So, guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye, everyone.